Next, we would like to call upon Dr. Farooq Shaikh to give an introduction about cure. Dr. Farooq, a senior lecturer from the Jeffrey Chia School of Medicine and Health Sciences, is amongst the school's promising early career researchers. Together with Dr. Yatinesh Kumari, they formed the Neuropharmacology Research Group in MONASH, Malaysia, focusing on epilepsy and Alzheimer's disease-related cognitive dysfunctions. Dr. Farooq is instrumental in bringing Prof. Lay Sander to Malaysia through his success in obtaining the prestigious CURE Award, which supports epilepsy seminars around the globe. CURE Seminar Series provides a platform for young investigators to interact with senior-level epilepsy researchers and provides the opportunity for young researchers and clinicians to be exposed to exciting epilepsy research. Dr. Farooq, please.
Very good morning to everyone. We know our epilepsy community in Malaysia is very small, and when we have a seminar which is free, everyone register, but it's difficult. Anyway, I would like to thank Prof. Lay Sander for coming down and all other distinguished people from epilepsy community, Prof. Jeffrey, Prof. Raymond, for coming down to Monash to attend this important meeting on epilepsy research. I'm being a recipient of CURE Frontiers in a Seminar Series grant, which is a quite good amount of 3,000 USD in order to promote or advocate epilepsy and epilepsy-related research in the region. So this is specifically support grants in order to promote epilepsy research and advocate and encourage young epilepsy researchers or young researchers to do research in epilepsy. So being part of recipient of this grant, it is a requirement from the CURE. I do speak on CURE, what CURE does and why they are doing it. So I'm going to just take you quickly before we start Prof. Sander's talk. So the main goal from CURE to fund this Frontiers in Seminar Series research program is to expose young epilepsy researchers and clinicians to the exciting opportunities of research and to create a very informal environment between the young epilepsy researchers and senior epilepsy researchers to come together and brainstorm and come up with new ideas. And finally, the ultimate goal of CURE is to find a cure for epilepsy. So this is the reason why they are funding. So as Lisa just introduced myself, I'm Farooq. I'm based in School of Medicine, senior lecturer there. I'm basically doing research on epilepsy and related cognitive function. I'm a basic scientist, so I do a lot of animal modeling. So as with Dr. Yatinesh, we formed this Neuropharmacology Research Lab, and it's quite doing well in terms of grants, students, and a good publication in epilepsy, specifically epilepsy area. Most of you know about epilepsy, so those who are not really into epilepsy, I just want to give a quick introduction about epilepsy. I think this WHO video actually explains itself everything about epilepsy.
Across the world, over 50 million people suffer from a medical condition that is too often misunderstood. Some people believe that it is contagious, or that those who have it are mad and should be hidden away, or even that they are possessed by evil spirits. But epilepsy is none of these things. So what is epilepsy? Epilepsy is a chronic disorder of the brain characterized by recurrent seizures. These are brief disturbances in the electrical functions of the brain. Certain types of epilepsy are caused by head injuries, complications at birth, or infections from parasites, none of which is contagious. In many cases, we don't know what causes epilepsy. People with epilepsy can sustain injuries during seizures. They often struggle with anxiety and depression. Because of the stigma they face, it can be difficult for them to live a full and normal life. The burden of epilepsy is higher in low and middle income where 80% of people with epilepsy live. But what if we told you there is a solution? That 70% of people with epilepsy can be seizure-free with adequate treatment. And that this treatment costs as little as $5 per year. That's right, $5 per year. But here's the bad news. 7 out of 10 people with epilepsy worldwide do not receive treatment. This is what we call the epilepsy treatment gap. Why is this when such a low-cost solution exists? In most resource-poor settings, anti-epileptic medicines are often not available. Even if they are, very few healthcare providers have the training to recognize, diagnose and treat epilepsy.
So many of you really know this definition. I really will not go in detail about it, but to go very superficially, so the clinical definition which is given by International League Against Epilepsy, at least 2 unprovoked seizures occurring less than 24 hours, or 1 provoked seizure and a probability of further seizures similar to the general recurrence risk. Diagnosis of epilepsy syndrome. So the epilepsy in some patient considered resolved if they meet this criteria of not having seizures for last 10 years and they are refrained from the medication as well, and the seizures doesn't reoccur. So this is the definition. If we look at the number of epilepsy people around the globe is actually increasing. 65 million people worldwide, and it's still counting. The recent report, what we saw yesterday, was 70 million. So it's very alarming, the number of epilepsy patients. If you look at statistics of America, which is 1 in 26 Americans will develop epilepsy in their lifetime. So the scenario is very, very alarming. I think similar thing happening in Malaysia. Right now we have about 320,000 epilepsy patients which are recorded, but still the stigma, the myth and all those things are still with us, and that needs some advocacy. Epilepsy costs about $15.5 billion each year to US, and same applies to other countries. Indirect costs associated with uncontrolled seizures are 7 times higher than that of average of all chronic diseases. If you look at this graph, it's really talk about 9.9%, so which is very high. Why cure is interested and why research in epilepsy is important. So as we know, a lot of population is suffering from these chronic diseases, and the progress is unacceptably very low. Children with uncontrolled seizures frequently face a lifetime challenges. Many of us have seen some children with epilepsy grown up and with a lot of struggle and a lot of problems. The mortality rate is very dangerous, is about epilepsy patient 3 times the rate of the general population. And the main problem, which Prof. Sender will highlight more on, the sudden death is actually more than 20 times higher compared to the other diseases. So it's a kind of a very life-threatening disease, and why this is one of the reasons Cure wanted to put their hand and wanted to fund research as well as advocacy thing in epilepsy. Another problem is about the funding, as very clearly epilepsy research is underfunded all over the world. These are some of the statistics in US. If you look at compared to the other diseases like Parkinson's, autism and Alzheimer's disease, the epilepsy research is only 64 per patient estimate. So this is very low compared to the other diseases like Parkinson's and autism. So another thing, we are not spending enough money, or we are not getting enough funds to do research in epilepsy. That's another problem why still we are searching for the cure. If you look at the statistics of research in epilepsies, and if we see these numbers, Parkinson's was relatively 4,000 and moved to 5,000. Similar increasing trend, almost double in autism case. Alzheimer's still fairly up, but if you look at epilepsy, the increase is just 14%. That means the research still at very low pace compared to the other diseases. Definitely one of the reasons for this is the funding, okay? Whereas Alzheimer's and autism and Parkinson's, are highly preferred in some of the among some of the funding agencies, whereas epilepsy was underfunded. Focus of epilepsy research publication all over the here. I mean, all over the time. If you look, it's again saying us something about that epilepsy research is not really explored much and haven't published much. If you look at open clinical trials, phase trial in epilepsy, comparatively again lower, and I think this is again talking about the epilepsy research and trials are still fairly low compared to other diseases. Private funding of research in common neurological disorders, if you look at the figures in USD millions, Parkinson's 59 million, autism 63 million, and Alzheimer's about 16 million. But if you look at epilepsy, it is fairly low. So that's another thing why Cure actually wanted to support epilepsy research. Similarly, if you look at the NIH and private per patient funding, it's again for epilepsy it's fairly low. So who is Cure and what is Cure and what they do? So Cure basically was founded by Susan Axelrod in 1998, and she is one of the mother because her daughter is suffering from epilepsy, and that gave a motivation and an encouragement to form this group or community which is called Cure. So she joined with some of the parents of children with epilepsy, and they formed this group. In the time since they formed, since 1998, this became the largest group or largest, you can say, non-governmental funder of epilepsy research. So they got it from crowdfunding and other sources where they can gather the money and put this money for epilepsy research. They have a few key signature programs where continuously Cure is funding. So Epilepsy Genetics Initiative called EGI, post-traumatic epilepsy, especially for the defense or military personnel from America, SUDEP, sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, and infantile spasm initiative. These are the four initiatives where they fund fairly a good amount. They raised over $50 million for as of now, and it keeps on increasing. Epileptic Genetics Initiative, it is created to bridge the gap between people with epilepsy, clinicians and researchers, and advanced precision medicine in epilepsy. Post-traumatic epilepsy, as I mentioned, it is collaborated now with the Department of Defense of the United States, and they fund about 10 million USD grant. This supports a team approach to the research preventing the treatment of post-traumatic disease, TBI-related epilepsy. The third, the signature program is SUDEP, and they invested millions of dollars in doing this research, which includes collaborating with more than 40 investigators around the globe and support the research and cutting-edge studies to prevent SUDEP. And this is one of the key area where we also got this grant, and Prof. Senda is going to talk about it. The last signature program is Infantile Spasm Initiative, where they awarded about $4.1 million for now. This is again to understand the basis, the pathogenesis of the infantile spasm, and also to find a therapy for the same. As of now, as I mentioned, they have raised more than $15 million so far, and it's keep on increasing, which they use the money for the support of epilepsy research. Cure funded about 200 projects in 15 countries. That's huge actually, and they funded almost each and every country. Interestingly, whatever fund they have raised, the 90% of the fund they use for their main mission is to finding cure. That means they invest this money on epilepsy research to find a cure for that. So they actually have a very big impact on the society. There is a dramatic shift in the epilepsy research community from simply treating the seizures to enhancing the understanding of the mechanisms, the causes, and preventive strategies to prevent epilepsy. You can find more information on Cure Epilepsy Cure website, which is cureepilepsy.org. They have a few grant opportunities still. Some of the deadlines are on, and if you go to their website, you can find a detailed information. It's a very simple letter of interest you need to put. Once it is accepted, you can put the full proposal. And if you look at these three key programs, which is Cure Epilepsy Award, which about 2 years of duration, and it gives about 250,000 USD. And the priority areas are from basic mechanism of epilepsy, acquired epilepsy, pediatric epilepsy, SUDEP and treatment, resistant epilepsy, and epilepsy and sleep. So these are their thrust area where they fund for the Cure Epilepsy Award. They have another award which is Taking a Flight Award. This again comes for the young epilepsy researchers to try. The fund duration is about 1 year, and they give about 100,000 USD. I'm going to try one of them. The Innovator Award is 1 year, which is 50,000, and they explore a highly innovative new concept or a new, you can say, idea to find a potential to reveal entirely new avenues investigation in epilepsy research. So these are the key grant opening. They normally have two times a year, these calls. I think the next deadline is somewhere in April. And yeah, talking about what we got from this Frontiers in Research seminar series. So they fund about 8 seminars every year. And I was lucky enough to grab one of that and get Prof. Sender here. So this is from their website. If you are interested to conduct seminars, something similar like this, what we are doing, you can actually apply, and it's a very simple. You just need to give justification why you need this fund and how you can support this epilepsy seminar and what will be the outcomes from this. So I think that's it about from me. So hopefully you will enjoy Prof. Sender's talk and the whole session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Farooq, for the detailed introduction on cure and epilepsy.